who was absolutely popping off and carrying the team. It was jcStani who had big moments. It was Neptune who had big moments. It really did feel like a collaborative effort there for Immortals.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to be super paying attention to, especially since Immortals are starting off on the defensive side, is how the anchors look for Neptune and jcStani. Already an opening pick for Shanks. That's definitely a great way to start, but it's a quick rush onto this B site. They've got control, but for how long?
jcStani back in Gong. He's going to get cleaned up at the hands of Thief as Ksiaze gets in on some as well. But Shanks continuing to light up the kill feed as jmoh joins in on the action. Luminosity just down to 2 members left. It was a heavy B hit, and so far nothing is certain. Shanks kind of creeping his way around. They see the spike has been planted. The drone's there. Thief, oh my gosh, Thief already has 3. He's going to back off to safety. Has plenty of health to work with as well. He's got more to work with. Looking for the 4th. Not going to get any of it. Genghsta holds strong, as does the rest of Immortals, and they're going to take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, it definitely helped to start off with an opening pick on towards that A sewer side. Shanks peeking aggressively. But one of the things that I wanted to highlight before this round kind of slipped away from my own verbiage is how, see, Haven, to some extent, feels like who can hit C the hardest on their attacking half. On eco rounds, you tend to kind of opt in for the B hit because it can be fast, it can be dirty, and most teams don't kind of expect it. You kind of decide whether or not you want to have courtyard presence or not, depending on how you set up the angle. But Neptune and jcStani were a huge problem on the defensive end for T1, as they were able to hold down that C plat area and just be the anchors that Immortals needed them to be, and then ultimately winning a 4v5 to kind of top things all off. This is a great map for Immortals, and I think Luminosity really need to start hot off the presses. It doesn't help that the pistol was lost, but they have another shot at redemption here.
Yeah, it does not look like Luminosity bought up or forced anything. I saw a Sheriff in the hands of a couple of members, but it looks like they're going to try to hit this B site again. A couple of smokes go out, the Leer to blind things and keep things at bay, and kills are actually being traded. LG have managed to work their way on here. Immortals is going to have to fight for the retake.
That's why this B hit is so fast and dirty, but we're going to see Neptune come in with the stinger. They'll trade things out, and now it's down to the 2v2. Spike is in a tough spot. We've got Luminosity pinching from both ends. You're seeing jmoh double back. Aproto's looking towards the courtyard. This is a tough spot, and we have no idea how Immortals are thinking about playing this round out. They're going to try to stick together. And there's strength in numbers. Aproto slowly moving forward. There's the angle. It's spotted out by jmoh and partnered up, and now down to Stellar, who's found himself in Ares. Somehow, some way, he'll upgrade that one off the floor. But this has already become a lot closer than Immortals would bargain for. 20 seconds left on the clock. Not a lot of time to get that spike planted, and jmoh with the swing, and even if he falls there, guess who was right there behind him? It was Neptune. So 2-0 start here for Immortals. Definitely a tough force up here. They'll probably likely look to force up again. But wait, did LG force up that round? I think they did. I wasn't paying too close attention, but I think they did, and it didn't work out. So now they're going to likely bleed another one here too.
Four Sheriffs and a Ghost. As it looks like, yes, they did indeed force. I apologize, I missed that in the call. But either way, Luminosity here rolled the die, and the gamble did not pay off, as, again, they're just going to have pistols to work with. jmoh's going to get pushed back with the paranoia. Shanks and jcStani were able to get the 2 opening frags on the round, however. As Luminosity's just down to 3.
I have a feeling we're going to be looking at the sewers a lot. And not because that's where Immortals belong, but it's because where they've got most of the domination. They had that first early pick in round 1 for Shanks, and now the second one. I know it's the eco for Luminosity, but let's pay closer attention to how often jmoh and Shanks double peek sewers. Because we might find more than we bargained for. At the moment, we're not going to see that this round. jmoh's still going to double peek with Genghsta towards that long side. Still some form of A presence, but I'd imagine that's going to be just as deadly in a couple of rounds from now.
A pretty standard setup there on a long. You'll have the Sova pop out and hit that dart towards the back of the site, and jmoh's there to help as well. A good cage to kind of deny any sort of information or any initial pick potential from jmoh. Meanwhile, Luminosity So kind of mulling things over. At this point, I feel like with Haven, we've seen so many times that surely we've seen 2 or 3 heavy C hits from the attacking side at this point. But that has not been the case, as Luminosity hasn't looked over there at all.
I like how Immortals have played this early round. They use Hedwig to clear out the sewers, so they know that nobody's crossing, even if there might have been a cyber cage there or some sort of, maybe somebody snuck past when jmoh wasn't looking. But now he's got a great angle. He's got the op. Owl drone comes through. It's likely not going to look towards that angle. Oh, sees jmoh, tags him, so he's got to give up that angle. So now Immortals have some sort of understanding that there might be a heavy push towards this A site. They initially banked, especially on that early information, that it was going to be some sort of garage split hit, especially with that early orb control. But Luminosity really just biding their time. They're going to do a fast and dirty hit in the late round, and they may not get the spike down in time. You really have to pay attention with 30 seconds left on the clock.
How the difficult thing for Immortals really is that the other 2 members are so far away that they really have no choice but to kind of, in a lot of ways, give up a little bit of room and potentially fight for the retake. But of course, as I say that, jcStani goes down. Immortals just rips them to shreds. The defense holds strong. There was no need for the other members of Immortals as they hold fast and take a 4-0 lead over Immortals, or over Luminosity.
I like jcStani rotating as well from that B site, but Genghsta, man, he had a great angle. They also didn't really divide and conquer for Luminosity. They didn't send anybody up through the sewers. They just kind of sent most of their army up through Banana, and unfortunately, it was rotten. Now Immortals, they'll lead by 4. Eco here for Luminosity. Not a great start to this attacking side, which is ultimately where you would want to see the most success on Haven. Ultimately, for the past kind of open and closed qualifier, we've seen this map be a little bit more even 50-50, but teams do tend to prefer the attack.
Well, so far, Immortals has done just fine on the defending side, and Luminosity are once again left searching for answers. It really just goes against everything that we expected going into this map. We thought the attacking side, because of what we saw on Bind, was going to be stronger for both of these squads, but Immortals have performed very admirably so far on the defense. Luminosity have managed to establish some presence and get some up around Garage, but Neptune's there. He's able to get a second. Ksiaze kept it interesting, but he eventually drops.
Yeah, I'm going to want that weapon. Thank you very much. Wait, where is it? Wait, what? Oh, it drops back here. Now he's got himself an upgrade. 3v4. Neptune holds the garage line temporarily, but the fact that Immortals have committed a lot of their resources over here. Initially, the B site hit was what Luminosity wanted. Oh, will they split through Link?
Oh, I love this.
It might. Nope, they don't have enough info. That's fair. They don't have enough info. Stellar getting behind Gong. Prado going to play close. And now Immortals are going to do their homework. Hedwig going to clear out the garage. And the rest of the team 4 stacking through that Link choke point. This is going to be a tough push. Let's see how it works out.
It is going to be a tough push. Stellar with the paranoia. My gosh, that hit a couple of members, but it doesn't matter. Immortals are able to keep Luminosity at bay. It's just 1 member left. It's Mada. He's got a Sheriff, but he doesn't have a whole lot else to work with. The defuse is surely going to go through here. Yeah, it drops. jmoh gets the kill to add insult to injury. Immortals taking a big lead here on the defending side, Simo.
Yeah, this is scary. If you're a Luminosity fan like Veli is, you're definitely sweating a couple of buckets. And Luminosity might need those buckets to put out the fire that is currently this 5-0 start for Immortals. It's the gun round for them. An opportunity at redemption once again. Looking at the defensive setup for Immortals. A little bit more presence towards that A site. It's something that I had anticipated. Yep, jmoh and Shanks are both there. Both prepared. Luminosity want that orb control to start the round. Let's see if they get an ultimate from it. Or if they just try to start to develop some sort of ultimate. They get the control. And you will use this owl drone to push up onto the C side. jcStani and Neptune, you got to hold the line here.
Okay, you hear the Hunter's Fury has been used as Ksiaze dashes onto the site. Neptune is out for the rest of the round. Not able to hold the line, but Ksiaze drops at the hands of Stani. Now the members of Immortals are starting to arrive onto the site, but they're going to get there a bit too late as the spike is going to go down. We've been waiting for this C hit, and so far, things looking good for Luminosity.
2v2 retake. Both Shanks and jmoh. I like the smoke towards that garage side. If they find this pick onto Stellar, that means at the flank, though, you got to be careful. Yeah, you put the smoke down. Wait, are you concerned about this player? jmoh with the 180. The Tony Hawk Ollie. pop, shove it right in to Luminosity's hands. 6-0 start for Immortals. And jmoh gets himself an ult point, 2 away from the Blade Storm. What a start. What a start here, 6-0. When are Luminosity going to finally break through? That C hit wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all, but like I had said in the beginning, jcStani and Neptune just are so good at holding down that site.
And I think to kind of highlight a bit more of the difficulties that Luminosity have had, both Ksiaze, Stellar, and Mada are yet to get a kill in the map. I think, again, just a testament to how difficult of treading it's been for them. Immortals have been stalwart in their defenses. They haven't let anything pass them, really anything in. The closest thing we've seen to success was really that C push. It was good, but it just wasn't there. LG working their way up A. Oh, I love his positioning, but oh, the peak was there. Ksiaze gets on the board, a big kill onto Shanks.
Genghsta really wanted to help Shanks there, but unfortunately he had to worry about the sewers push as well. But they actually trade. Op shot from jmoh. Immortals have committed a lot of resources over towards this A site, and aproto is actually going to stick around to make sure that he causes a little bit more noise. Luminosity starting their rotates over. They back away. They might be looking towards this B site, but now there's a smoke layered on another smoke. And they'll be working their way through the garage. There's a camera, a deep camera from Immortals. Neptune, once again, I am asking for your defense.
It's gonna have to happen towards A, as it looks like that's where the spike is headed back to. jmoh's gonna be there with an operator. You mentioned earlier on that it was aproto who was sticking around. Sure, there wasn't going to be anyone on the flank. Enough info, or well, the lack of presence was enough info for them to suggest that this might be okay. There was nobody coming around. You see the smokes go off to heaven, but jmoh's down low as he takes care of Ksiaze. He's going to get paranoid, but uses the Blade Storm, goes up just a bit. But Stellar's able to pull him back down. jcStani up from heaven, drops to his death as well, as Immortals are starting to fall apart. jmoh, there's just one left, and it's Neptune. I don't know that he has a play here.
Neptune. I was asking for your defense early on. Now I'm asking for your offense, but it's not to be. Luminosity, stop the bleeding. 6 rounds in. And of course, Immortals have more cash in the bank than they know what to do with. Another operator for jmoh. Genghsta had a good angle to stop the push as well, but I like the paranoia from Stellar. I think that's ultimately what sold the hit so strongly for Luminosity. jmoh couldn't participate, then the Blade Storm came out. If he finds a pick there, then maybe, but not as successful as I imagine he would have hoped to be. But, I mean, Immortals have already started off incredibly hot. They can afford to lose around here or there. It's bound to happen eventually. Can LG do it again? That is the bigger question.
Oh, a ton of utility being used around A. You saw smokes, blinds, the dart as well to get some info. Ksiaze checking that corner. Where Shanks was before, this time nobody's home. That operator in the hands of Immortals is actually going to be holding down B. As we've seen Luminosity hit that site a couple of times, but it looks like they're definitely going to want to go to A here. You see the ult has been used. He pops up, gets some info, realizes there's no one up in heaven, and backs off. But Immortals, oh my gosh, they mow Luminosity down yet again. There's just one left on the side of them. It's Stellar. He's going to drop a flawless round. The spike was in a terrible spot, too, after all the chaos ensued. Immortals continue to pile it on the defensive side.
Yeah, Thief needed to find a lot of value out of that Empress. If he finds a pick, he goes invisible, he gets deeper information. Stellar tried to TP back site, but they were able to shoot it down quickly. I would have loved to see maybe a Paranoia instead to set that up, because there was a lot of players, well, with what we know, were setting up around the sewer side defense as opposed to the banana side defense. So, and that is, you know, a patented Moon Raccoon hit. You know, the Paranoia that left side, and they rush in. Regardless, instead of TPing in or gathering that information, a Paranoia I think would have been a little bit more useful there. But that is also very useful. An aggressive push up mid. We weren't really talking about the defensive setup, but now we can. Passive play from Immortals towards the A site. Decide to take a trip down memory lane to the courtyard and find great success. And now the reposition from Shanks. This could be huge, but he's got to get out of there as Luminosity are coming knocking on the door.
And I love how Immortals played that as well. This is exactly what I wanted to talk about. It wasn't just Shanks going aggressive. jmoh had his cover through window and through the rest of Courtyard if they swung around. He's still there, able to get one, looking for the second, just narrowly missing. The Classic isn't able to do the job either. He's going to have to back off with 40 health, but the reinforcements, the cavalry from Immortals, has arrived. jcStani is able to take care of one. They still have all, well, of course, as I say that, he dies. They still have presence. They still have personnel advantage, and Stellar's just ripped to shreds.
Eight to 1. 3 rounds remaining. That was an eco for Luminosity. This is a turning point for them. This round can decide if they're going to slam dunk this one 8-4. But if I'm going to be honest with you, Immortals have more than enough economy to carry themselves through for the remaining 3 rounds. Luminosity have to get through 3 gun rounds up against Immortals, because even if they close this one out, there's a lot of loss bonus that'll come in for Immortals as the rounds will continue to lay on. But early looks, we're finally seeing that aggression from Immortals towards that sewer side. Op shot does not connect onto Luminosity, and it's going to be the garage split. They're going to push through. Drone spots the tripwire. Once again, Neptune and jcStani, can you defend this push in?
Yeah, and what I loved about Immortals was they just got the heck out, right? They pushed up sewers, excuse me, weren't able to get anything, and then you started to see them rotate over. They've returned to A since, but I like how they've been moving those 2 players around. It keeps Luminosity on their toes. They don't know what's safe. And if it's not them, it's jcStani. This time in Garage, Neptune's there with the sucker punch as well. They've just been impenetrable on the defending side, ladies and gentlemen. The neural theft is going to give away everything as well. All of the information, no element of surprise for Luminosity. Immortals have them exactly where they want them.
A great cover there from Neptune and jcStani. That's why I had highlighted at the beginning that their defense on the C side is just so great. Communication, the way that they work together. Luminosity just C hit, which to be fair, we haven't seen a lot of the C hit. They always end up at A somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be the B side this time. Paranoia right side, clearing that a potential angle from jmoh. Let's see where they get this spike down. That's the most interesting thing. It's a very interesting spot. They're not going to play for Courtyard. They're going to play for Sight. Let's see if this works out for LG.
Stellar has taken this back on area a number of different times, but he's just not going to be a factor. My goodness. Immortals can seem to do no wrong. Here, as Luminosity just haven't been able to get anything going on the attacking side. This is one of the most impressive performances I've seen on the defending side in Haven in a very long time.
9-1. Scary sight if you're a Luminosity fan. There's a possibility that this one finishes up 11-1. And Immortals have just been so good at holding the line, holding the defense. Whatever setup Luminosity throw at them, they defend. Looking at the setup here for Immortals, jmoh for the first time in the garage, as jcStani will hold the B site. It's going to be a double peek from Shanks and Genghsta, and they'll find a little bit of value as there are members pushing in. Spray through doesn't find much success. They'll back away and maybe anticipate some sewers play from Luminosity.
They were anticipating the sewers play, and you see the drone has been used there to kind of clear that out. If it wraps all the way around, there may be the opportunity to spot. I don't know that they did, but look at Shanks. Shanks is pushing his way into showers, or into sewers. I apologize, but he's got a really good spot here to make something happen. On the flip side, this is a huge kill. If Luminosity are able to get him, they've got some room, but no, Shanks is able to get the best of Thief as that Reyna on Reyna goes in favor of Immortals.
Genghsta's got to help him with this angle here. Shanks now in the Cubby 50. The rest of Immortals need to start to rotate over. jmoh still holding that C alongside. It could be the fake, but it doesn't feel like Luminosity have ever sold a fake. When they want to hit the A site, they do. Now the members are starting to file in. aproto's leading the charge. Shot's going to be good to jcStani, but it's traded away one after another. aproto down to the 2v3. Shanks down in hell, and that's exactly where he's going to do some of that damage. jmoh swinging from yellow, and Immortals up by 9.
Last round in the
What a second map here. I don't really think we were going to anticipate such a dominating performance from Immortals, especially understanding that both teams slightly hot and cold on this map, just based on the prior results. But now look at where we're at. Shanks buying an Odin. It's almost as if he's just like trolling now. Like he doesn't, no, I'm just kidding. Odin, he's probably going to be looking to spray through the garage, through the courtyard window. But nevertheless, look at just how dominant Immortals have been. They can afford to have fun if they want. 10-1, it's crazy.
I mean, Luminosity have not found any room to work with, as it seems like Immortals has just been a step ahead of them every single round. This time, Luminosity working their way up middle. And as you were mentioning, the Odin was there, and that's exactly where it was focused. So again, just emphasizing how well Immortals have played this. They've been ahead of Luminosity every step of the way. It looks like they're going to try to commit onto this site, and of course, a couple of members of Luminosity have already dropped. Shanks with the Empress goes in a bit aggressive. He's able to get one member left. They know where he is. Stellar is able to get that, but it's still a 1v4.
Wow. This pistol.
Switching sides.
Luminosity, listen, you gotta have a pep talk. You gotta take a tag pause right here. That's what you gotta do. Luminosity, you have to tack pause here. What is the greasiest pistol strat you have? Give it to us. That's what you need to climb out of this hole that has currently been dug by Immortals for you. 11-1. You lose this, it's your favorite restaurant dish, pasta a la GG, and that's not exactly what Luminosity want to be eating after this one. Immortals. 4 stack towards the A site. We only have KZ prepared to defend this Immortals line. Will he survive? About to find out.
And again, KZ and Mada, a combined 1 in 24 on the first half. Just a really brutal performance. There, we'll see if they're able to fare better, excuse me, on the defending side. You see Immortals have already established heavy A control. They work their way up long, they work their way up short. Where the spike is coming, Luminosity are going to have to fight for this retake because Immortals are already there.
Have to have a look at that flank. Pay attention to the mini-map, folks. We've got Mada coming in from the back. Genghsta will stop the flank. So will jcStani. Oh, there he is. Shot's good. Mada opening up that flank, and Genghsta's been smoked off. So now this is a beautiful retake for Luminosity, but it's going sour. 2v2 down to 1. Shanks pops, locks, and drops it. Immortals at series point. Immortals at map point. Immortals one step closer to qualifying for the first strike major.
And I was curious to see how LG would play this as far as finances go, right? Like, this is it. I understand they didn't have a ton of work with to begin with, but they're bringing in, I guess, they've got a Stinger, and they're going to bring in a Marshall as well, and some armor across the board, but it's terrifying to think that Immortals is bringing full rifles into this. On the attacking side early on, they got what they wanted, at least in that pistol. The defense from Luminosity has to be perfect just to get to overtime.
Perfect is what we have to ask for from Luminosity, but Immortals have been playing nearly perfect on the opposite side. Hedwig used to clear out the push. Aproto with a crispy headshot. He needs a couple more of those with the Sheriff. They've managed to get onto the site. Recon bolt bottom from the side. Now this is working out. Let's answer back Aproto. Okay, down to 1. It's jmoh in a 1v3. Has the Phantom in tow. Shot's going to be good. One more player to the right. Shot's going to be good to him. Down to the last player, but KZ keeps Luminosity alive.
Jeez, and jmoh almost did it, right? He isolated that down to a 1v1 at the very end and almost pulls that off. A 23-3 performance. He's been out of control this entire map, but for LG, they needed that one, and they did so with Sheriffs and a little bit of a mixed bag otherwise. Now, Immortals is going to have nothing but pistols to work with. LG is going to be able to come into this round from a position of power. Rifles, and the one exception being Stellar with the Spectre across the board. They've got a good bit of utility hanging out over towards C, but jmoh and the rest of Immortals are pushing right in to the defenses of Luminosity on the A side. jmoh not able to connect onto one quite yet with the Bladestorm, but they're going to continue to funnel their way in. You see the paranoia come through. Not going to connect onto anyone. Oh my gosh, Immortals! Immortals goes up close and personal. jmoh with the Bladestorm dropping down to Aproto. You've got to do it A Defense of the Alamo type effort is going to be required here to keep the map alive, to keep your tournament hopes alive. He's able to get one as he drops Shanks, but he's taken so much damage already, just down to 46 health. They know exactly where he is. This is really an impossible ask. He's gonna drop, ladies and gentlemen, a statement made by Immortals as they punch their ticket to first strike.
Was I watching StarCraft there? What a Zerg rush from Immortals. Just hold that W key and find the